Hey guys, it sucks to be labeled as a homewrecker when you didn't even do anything. My stepbrother claims that I slept with his soon-to-be husband and made a huge scene, humiliated me in front of 100 people and just left. All because his older stepbrother ego couldn't handle the fact that his little sister is more successful than him in life. Actually, my stepbrother has always been this way since childhood. It's not like my parents gave me extra attention or something. It's just even if I beat him with zero point 0.5 extra mark, he would just burn with anger and jealousy. My stepbrother is talented, truly, but his problem is that he used his energy on the wrong things. Instead of sabotaging me if he spent more time on his projects, then maybe he would have been better than me. The house I bought is my dream house. I have been saving and investing a lot. I designed the interior myself. I chose all the furniture, curtains, and everything. I always fantasize about how it would be to celebrate my first birthday in my new house. I planned everything a week ahead. I selected the birthday cake, food, drinks, new curtains, streamers, and color harmonious flowers and balloons. For my birthday, I decided to set the food and everything on the lawn because no matter how big my house is, it would still get stuffy in there. It was supposed to be my perfect birthday party. It was finally the day. My potential clients were invited too. I was mingling with the guests, guiding them to the buffet and discuss projects with my potential clients. All in all, it was going really great. Then my stepbrother and my future brother-in-law arrived. I tensed up the moment I saw them. I know I invited them, but I really had a strong gut feeling that something could go wrong. But then I brushed it off. I thought, my stepbrother won't stoop so low as to ruin his sister's birthday, right? Just when I think my stepbrother can't disappoint me more than he already has, the next time he disappoints me most spectacularly, breaking his record. The memory is still fresh. It was 10 p.m. My stepbrother and his fiancé were late. I had already cut my birthday cake and almost all the guests had already had dinner and resumed socializing. Unlike others, my stepbrother came empty-handed, or so was my idea. His fiancée, on the other hand, gave me a lovely handmade greeting card and chocolates. While mom, dad, and everyone were mingling, I carried all the presents to my room. I think that's when my stepbrother set up a projector to show my childhood videos and pictures, how I grew up and all. After ending his brief dramatic toast, he turned on the projector. There were several photos of me in diapers crawling around the house. In some, I was holding a crayon and drawing on the wall, playing with mud. Then those photos transitioned into when I learned to walk, then into my kindergarten, primary school, and middle school. Then there were a few selfies and videos I took during my school days. A few Instagram reels I made in 2022 as I was very fond of acting. And lastly, he showed me the days I spend planning for my birthday. That's when the color drained from my face. I didn't even invite him during the prep. Mom and Dad helped me at the last minute. After a few more pictures, there was another set of pictures where my stepbrother's fiance was wearing my boyfriend's outfit and flirting and almost kissing me while I was laughing and giggling. There were photos where we kissed passionately. Read the first line again where I said that he was wearing my boyfriend's outfit. That's right. All of these were heavily edited. You guys know how advanced tech is today? There was also a quick video of me dragging my boyfriend into a room and closing the door. Since it was filmed from behind, it didn't need much editing. My boyfriend looked at me. He was about to say something, but I held his hand, gesturing for him to not speak out loud. He then nodded and clenched his teeth hard, looking at the fake photos and videos. The slides were automatic, so my stepbrother didn't even look at the screen. He only looked back after looking at the shocked faces of the audience, and then his fiancée, and feigned his expression as well. With each new photo and video, His look of shock and betrayal became even stronger than before. I think he is a much better actor than me. He then started his convincingly fake monologue about how I broke his heart and wrecked his home. He claimed that I was sleeping with his fiancée and even lied about how his fiancée didn't spend enough time with him, probably because he was sleeping with me. He didn't even look at his fiancée all this time because he was convinced that I sang a siren song and enchanted his fiancée into committing adultery. I kept looking at the look of genuine shock on his fiancée's face from time to time. He tried to protest, but he was not given the chance to speak. Taking advantage of my silence, he started talking about how I sabotaged everything and made things difficult for him. In other words, he swapped roles. My parents believed that too. After his whole drama ended, people started whispering and passing me judgmental looks. It was then when I tried to explain to everyone that he had framed me. But as soon as I opened my mouth and uttered the first two words, he interrupted me and said that he was not going to listen to any excuses, and then he approached our parents and successfully turned them against me. My mom approached me and she slapped me in front of everyone. I could feel that people were enthusiastically watching the drama, enjoying how I was getting punished for something I had never done. Some of them even murmured that I deserved it. She said that she wished that I was never born and left with my dad. My boyfriend tried to protest, but I didn't let him. I chose to stay silent and absorb it all. After everyone left, my stepbrother came near me and practically hissed into my ear that I may have bought a new house before him, but he still won. And then he left. His fiancée stayed back for a little longer and looked at me with sympathy, and then he left too. After they left, I had a breakdown, and my boyfriend consoled me. My stepbrother not only ruined my wedding, but also labeled me as a homewrecker. There was no way I was letting it slide. He chose to ruin my special day, and I chose to ruin his. With my boyfriend's help, I started collecting all the evidence of his framing me. Just a few days before the wedding date, his fiancée approached me. He said that on the way home, he saw my stepbrother smile at times, unaware of the fact that his fiancée was looking at him. That's when he felt suspicious. After they went home, he confronted my stepbrother, who explained everything to him. He was smart enough to record the whole conversation because deep down, he too had a feeling that it was my stepbrother who set us up. You see, my stepbrother made a huge mistake here. To drag me through the mud, he sullied his fiancée's rep too. He wanted to immediately break up and even talked about it. But my stepbrother bribed him with rewards. He pretended to be interested so as not to raise suspicions. He wanted to clear his name like how I wanted to clear my name. He handed me a copy of the proof and left. It was finally the day, and I was invited because my stepbrother wanted me to see how successful and happy he is after ruining my life. The whole time I felt people judging me. I heard snippets of conversations which were mostly about how I was a shameless woman. Some even claimed that I was here to break the wedding. It was true, but not the way they imagined. Some even said that my boyfriend is such a good man that he has forgiven me and that I don't deserve a good man like him. I was barely containing my anger, but I was waiting for the right time. I saw my opening when the priest said, "Speak now or forever hold your peace." He created drama on my birthday, and now I must return the favor. His fiancée helped me set up everything, and on screen, we compared the real pictures with the fake ones. The timestamps and sloppy details proved my point. And then I played the recording his fiancée gave me. My stepbrother started to deny everything, further blaming his fiancée in the process, but this time no one listened to him. After everything was done, I explained to everyone how he lied about not only my involvement in the fake adultery scheme, but also how he lied about our childhood too. After everything that happened, I called the cops and he was arrested for making fake videos and harassment. He is now in custody awaiting further judgment. As for the slap on my mom's part, I chose not to report it as an offense. Honestly, it's hard to keep your cool in situations like that. Moreover, I know she would not repeat it. Update 1. Hey guys, thank you for all the comments. The court proceedings are still going on, and his lawyer is annoying the living daylights out of me. My stepbrother found someone like him to fight the case. He forces his words on mine and gets all defensive when I tell the truth. He asks questions in absolutes and where there's only yes and no. When I give an absolute answer, he twists it into something else, and when I try to explain, he doesn't let me. Despite all the clear evidence, things aren't looking very well. Update 2. Hey guys, I'm giving you just a quick little update. The case is still going on and it's going to be a lengthy one. Both my lawyer and his lawyer are at each other's throats. It's a tough neck on neck and drains a lot of time and energy. Update 3. Hey guys, I have good news. My lawyer found even more heavy evidence on him and it did not look well. Apparently, he has been scamming a lot of people, faking identities and running away with the money. Just when I thought he couldn't be any worse. So all this time he was using shortcut methods to beat me in competition. Yeah, it was a competition for him. And he ultimately lost. He not only lost his finances, but also our parents' support, his fiancé, and now his freedom. He is behind bars. My mom was feeling really guilty for humiliating me on my birthday. I don't know if I'll be able to forgive her any sooner. I am glad my stepbrother's former fiancé didn't end up marrying my toxic stepbrother. My boyfriend is there for me to support me every day. I've tried to reach out to the clients and potential clients I have lost, and only one of them came back. It's a huge blow to my business, but I really hope it all passes. Thank you guys for listening to me and supporting me. Love you all. Bye. NTA, glad that scammer is finally behind bars. NTA, I am glad it all worked out and I'm sorry about your business. I pray to God everything will be all right. Next story. So I, 31, female, and Lisa, 31, female, were never really friends, but we were friendly and part of the same social circle. She went to school with one of my very best friends, Faye. I'm not famous or anything, but my ex is in some circles, and 3 years ago, when we were still together, she sold a bunch of stories about him. I became suspicious when a quote from a source in an article was almost word for word what another friend had said in our group chat. I got Faye to lie to Lisa and basically say that someone at the paper had confirmed it was her, and she eventually admitted it to Faye. She's never actually spoken to me since. After that, I made it clear I wouldn't be attending any parties or anything that she was at, which was relatively easy since everyone was kind of annoyed at her at the time, and she basically just went away on her own. In the years since, however, Faye and her have mended their friendship, and she's recently begun dating someone within the wider friend group. So, our friend Sam's 40th is coming up, and he's rented a massive house on a lake for a long weekend. Lisa isn't close to Sam, but her boyfriend is. He purposefully didn't include Lisa in the invite, but the boyfriend eventually asked, which apparently led to a very awkward conversation. Sam asked me what I thought, and I said that I respected his position, and if he wanted her there, I'd step back. No hard feelings. He said that he didn't want that he'd have her there for his friend's sake, so ideally we'd all be there together. I said no. Had it been a one-off dinner or something, I may have, but I'm not willing to be stuck with this woman for 4 days. There's some conjecture as to where the miscommunication lies, but it transpired that before Sam had even spoken to me, that the boyfriend had told Lisa that she could come, leading Sam to force the boyfriend to resend the invitation. Now, boyfriend is upset and threatening to pull out. He even called me to straighten it all out. But what actually happened was he ambushed me that I need to grow up and not hold on to petty grudges. The conversation descended quickly with him calling me a bitter child, a manipulative bitch, and destined to die alone. I honestly don't know how it got to that stage. I must have said no more than 10 words the entire call. I've spoken to some of my friends, and whilst they're all disgusted with the things he said, some did say that perhaps it was time to bury the hatchet with Lisa. Apparently, Lisa has said that I should be over it by now and that I'm being unreasonable because I know that people will generally prioritize my attendance over hers. I know this probably sounds selfish, but I don't really think that's my problem. So, AITA? ETA. I've reread it and it's not that clear, but the boyfriend in question is Lisa's, who is very close with Sam. Apologies for the confusion. Update. I spoke to Sam about the things that Lisa's boyfriend said to me, and he's decided to rescind his invitation too. Apparently, Lisa's boyfriend was under the impression that Lisa has tried to reach out, which is untrue. She's also allegedly been rather selective with telling him what stories she's sold. Not sure if anything will come of it, but I'm glad I'll not have to deal with either of them, to be honest. Has Lisa ever apologized to you? Asking you to bury the hatchet without a proper apology from her is ridiculous. You were graceful in offering to step back. Sam's boyfriend is incredibly manipulative. He has already decided how it's going to be and is pissed that you will not follow his dictate. I hope this is a one-off for Sam's sake. NTA. NTA. Kind of tough to bury the hatchet when the offender has never once expressed remorse to you and apologized. So she apparently is still a crappy person, and you should keep your distance from her. Avoid the drama, Lisa and Sam's boyfriend, and skip the birthday outing with your regrets. Next story. I rent a house. I have a neighbor on one side with no fence between our yards. They got a dog last year, which they let roam freely on both sides. They used to come clean up after it and apologize, but did not build a fence or tie it up. My backyard is a naturalized area, which is allowed in my town, mostly a wildflower pollinator meadow with a smaller grass area. The garden was already there when I moved in a few years ago. This neighbor used to come and mow down all my flowers, saying it's embarrassing to have his friends over and see them. Separate issue. Now he says he has to do it to find his dog's waste. My landlord used to live on the property. They never mowed the meadow when he lived there. My gate on the opposite side of the house from his was a bit loose, so he came and installed an automatic gate closer to my gate so that my kids can't accidentally let his dog out. The dog chews my kids' toys, it ripped my back screen door, pees on my deck. In winter, they started only coming to clean up the dog feces about once a week. They get buried in snow and can't be found. Eventually, 3 weeks go by without anyone cleaning up. Once the wife saw the dog crap and she told me that she wasn't going to pick it up. Her husband wanted a dog, so he has to do it. He was at work. Finally, I go to speak with them seriously, but they start yelling that he does so much work on my property. It's a shared yard. It's not. They can't tell their dog what to do, that I need to build a door on my deck to keep the dog off of it. And I'm just lazy for not having a real lawn and leaving my kids' toys outside. At this point, I feel an adult discussion is not going to happen. So I called bylaw and they are fining him a few $100s every time the dog crosses a property line and another fine if no one cleans up its waste. Now they are furious and told me that I started a war. The landlord already offered a long time ago to pay for half the cost of a fence with them. AITA? Why not just build a fence, tie the dog up until then, and not threaten me? NTA, you tried to discuss it like adults. Your landlord tried to go in on a fence with them, and they continued to do illegal things to your yard. You are completely in the right, but I would get cameras and loop your landlord in as much as possible. NTA, I would never understand why pet owners are so entitled when it comes to their pet's invasion and destruction of others' property and space. If the same were to be done by another human being, it would amount to property damage. assault, theft, etc. As a pet owner, you have a legal responsibility to control your pet and prevent it from running at large and causing harm to others. Work with your landlord. The landlord should be at the helm of these discussions and take necessary actions to protect the property. If you feel the terms of your rental agreement are being violated as a result of these conditions, that is again something your landlord must address. Stay tuned for more stories from our girl relationships.